Friedman Adventures was recently at the San Nicolas Hotel in beautiful Ensenada, Baja, California, Norte, Mexico, to try out their surf and turf burger. I'll give you a little hint. This is Greg Bates trying that burger. It's his second one of the day. That's how good he says it was. A toasted brioche bun, thick hand-pressed ground quality beef, a tomato-based sauce with mayonnaise, caramelized onions, cheese, tomatoes, and check out the bacon-wrapped shrimp. This burger was one of the best Greg and yours truly has ever tried in my life. And I've got to ask the question, is this the best burger in all of Ensenada? Drop a comment below, and if you haven't tried it, get over to the San Nicolas Hotel and try the Surf and Turf Burger. Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California. It is a gorgeous morning. You know, it's not that cold, a little bit overcast. Perhaps the clouds are holding in some of the heat. It feels like, I don't know, 48, maybe 50 degrees down here this morning. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's so great to be spending some time with each and every one of you. I deeply appreciate all you do for us. There's a lot to talk about. We're going to go to Cabo San Lucas, talk about that. Of course, we'll be talking La Paz and the rest of the Baja Peninsula. Some great long-range fishing continues, and we're going to be watching that for you very, very closely. And of course, there's some great opportunities here in Southern California, whether it's in the surf or it's out catching halibut or some other type of endeavor like lobster hoop netting. That's been really, really good here recently. And I love to mention to you also that the whale watch season is in full swing. I know we, as fishermen, some of us have seen plenty of whales in our day, but come on, it's still magnificent to take the family out and let the kids see gray whales and, on occasion, some orcas. Hey, you know what time it is. It's time for the Wednesday, January 17th, morning briefing. Good morning and welcome, my friends. Oh my God, that coffee is so good. It warms me up and feels so good. And it's so great to be back with you all. Of course, the Fred Hall, or I should say, the Bart Hall Show is right on the horizon right now, January the 25th through the 28th at the Long Beach Convention Center. And I will be there doing some special podcasts and wandering around. So make sure you look for me and say hello. I would love to shake your hand and say thank you for all you do for Friedman Adventures. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for subscribing to the channel, for sharing the page, and for ticking that bell, as you will be notified there is new content available for you all. And in addition to that, we'd love you to follow us on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. We can't thank you enough. And being over at the show will be an opportunity for me to say thank you. Tons of great seminars. It's a great show. You can't miss it. And of course, you get to see all your fishing buddies and say hello and talk about the great times you had in 23 and the great times to come in 24. No question about it. All right, let's start you out in Cabo San Lucas, and I'll be mentioning some other important dates coming up, including a big day at La Fogata this Sunday. But let's go to Cabo San Lucas. And where did Captain Sean Morgan go? There for about 4 days in a row. Constant messages, videos of Dorado and Wahoo and all kinds of stuff. And then he disappeared. I don't know where he is. I'm not sure if the workload has overtaken him or there's some tequila involved. But Captain Sean Morgan is missing. So I've gone to some other sources for the time being. Still some striped marlin down there biting pretty well at times. Not wide open, but decent. There's also the occasional hit on the Dorado, some good yellowfin tuna fishing, and also an occasional wahoo. Every day is different down there. Some days you get them, Some days you don't. It lacks a little consistency, but still some really nice weather and beautiful cobbles out of Lucas. Nothing wrong with that. And of course, Sean's up there a little bit up to the north of there in San Jose del Cabo. Same kind of a situation going on in that neck of the woods. The La Paz area, we continue to see, when the wind is not in the picture, a few rooster fish. They're smaller, but really early to see that stuff. There's also been a few marlin in that neck of the woods, and we have also seen a little pop here and there on the yellowfin tuna. Nothing wrong with that. As Valentino goes by this morning, it's always good to see him. In addition to that, we are moving you up now to the San Quintin area, 140 miles from the border here down below. Some good yellowtail action there, lots of rockfish, occasional halibut, and then bumping you up to the Ensenada area where there is, man, take a look at that. Barracuda this early in the year for Mara sport fishing. Nice going, boys. That is a nice catch. If the gar is showing up this early, it indicates to me that this El Nino thing is definitely in play. Those big bonita, some good calico bass fishing down in that neck of the woods. We're also seeing plenty of rockfish, so still some excellent stuff going on with regard to all of that. So really excellent fishing down south of the border. And I covered the surf fishing a little bit later in the report, but there has been some really good barred perch fishing south of the border. I'm trying to make a trip down there in the next week or so to show you firsthand what we're talking about. Some real slabs down there, some 3-pound barred perch in some cases. They're gorgeous fish, fun to catch, and they are flat, wide open down there in some areas. So we'll be watching that for you very, very closely. La Fogata, I want to mention that because it's Sunday. It's coming up. It's right around the corner for each and every one of you, and I'm talking a really fun time. It's a great restaurant in Sherman Oaks, California. We'll be there from 1 to 3 in the afternoon. That is Sunday, January the 21st. Can't wait to see you there. Of course, we'll have our charter list. We'll talk about the Bard Hall show. We'll talk about fishing. And, of course, just have a great time spending time together as the Friedman Adventure family. La Fogada, Sunday, 1 to 3 in the afternoon. Great Mexican cuisine and better company. I'll tell you that right now because there's going to be so many wonderful people at that event. So we will see you there. Let's switch to long-range fishing. The Royal Polaris continues to make their way up the coast as the Red Rooster 3 is unloading at this very moment in San Diego. And of course, you saw that live show we did with Andy Cates on the Rooster as he made his way up the Baja Peninsula, now offloading a really great catch. They've had some fantastic big Dorado biting down on the Potato Bank for the boys for a month now. It has been really good, 25 to 45 pound flatheads down in that neck of the woods. And then you get down to Hurricane Bank, and the yellowfin tuna bite down there has been pretty darn impressive. Some days they take a day off, some days they take 2 days off, but the yellowfin tuna bite overall has been good. It hasn't been that 200 to 300 plus pound category fish. It's been a lot of that, I want to say 70 to 90 pound YFT for the boys that are down there fishing right now. But you do get the occasional fish up there around 200. And as the season goes on, we might see those big fish. In fact, I'm pretty sure we will. There's a really good signal, and that big fish starts to move in just a little bit later from now. Those long-range boats are on 16-day trips as the XL is back in service again. They did a lot of maintenance to the boat, now heading south right now, so we'll be following the XL on their journey as they head on down. The Royal Polaris making their way up the coast, and they're catching some yellowtail and some sheepshead. Captain Roy Rose has put together another magnificent trip. Their bow pointed to San Diego. They'll get back in and then turn around and do it all again. The Independence is still down below, and they have been having some really outstanding fishing. Big yellowfin tuna. You know, some fish a couple days there where they were bit solid on the 120 to 200 pound YFT. And then they throw in some skins with that, some pretty good wahoo fishing. Long range fishing has been excellent. And don't forget, on April the 4th, we depart on the Independence on a 5-day trip. You can sign up at the Bart Hall Show. In fact, you can meet the crew of the Independence. You can talk to Paul Strasser, one of the owners. You can talk to Mark Paisano, one of the owners. Those are the two guys that rescued Desiree Rodriguez 36 years ago after she spent an entire day in the water And we did that dramatic podcast with those two fine men. And of course, Desiree is such an exceptional person. If you have never watched that, please take the time to do so right now. It will blow your mind. Anyway, you can meet those guys over there at the Bard Hall Show. I highly recommend you do it, and you can sign up for that 5-day trip, or you can call the office, or you can go online and do it. It should be an exceptional trip. I'm really looking forward to that. All right, let's take a look at what's going on now in the LA, Orange County, San Diego, basically SoCal in general. Down in San Diego, those boats can make a left-hand turn and go down into Mexican waters and fish rockfish, because rockfish is closed here in Southern California. It's open in Mexico, so those boys can go down below there and fish the rockfish. There's also been some really good wintertime bass fishing out of San Diego, out of Dana Ward Sport Fishing, here out of Marina del Rey, Redondo. We've also seen it out on the Monte Carlo. You know, Michael Limon and Benjamin Morrison, son of Mike Morrison, were out on the Monte Carlo the other day, and they had that nice, big, fat sandy. There's been some really good sand bass fishing. Michael says it's really important to drop that fluorocarbon down to about 20 pounds, and you get all the bites in the world. Now, Michael and Benjamin said you're going to get sawed off at times, but you're going to get way more bites if you drop down to 20, 25 pound fluorocarbon. Sometimes a little bit lighter sliding egg sinker will work, like an ounce, even lighter than that. Sometimes you'll need 2 ounces depending on wind and current. Every day is different. Talk to the guys on the Monte Carlo or whatever boat you find yourself on. And other times a leadhead and squid will work fine. A whole squid, fresh dead, for most of the boats. Some guys have some live, but most everybody's fishing the fresh dead right now. And there's been some exceptional bass fishing, let me tell you, here on our local area. So that is something that you can do. Now, also, the Aloha Spirit and several other boats like the Native Son are doing halibut trips. And let me tell you, we're off to the races again on the halibut here already in 24. It's going to be a magnificent year. Man, I'm telling you, we have a reverse 2.5-day trip on the Apollo out of 22nd Street Landing. That is going to be a magnificent trip. I'm telling you, it's got sea bass, halibut, bluefin, rockcod written all over it, as does that 5-day trip on the Independence. I think that's all in play. On the Aloha Spirit, they had 18 guys on a recent trip, 34 halibut. That is some pretty good shooting. And a dear friend of the Friedman Adventures family, John Moore, was on that trip. And John said, man, Phil, I just couldn't get a bite. I tried everything. John, we've all been there, man. We've all been snake bit at one point in time in our lives. I know exactly what you're talking about. John said, fish the 15-pound. That was the only way to get a bite on that trip. With those big numbers of halibut, you would have think that, you know, anything would work. But John said 15-pound was really, really important. So keep that in mind. Speaking of the Aloha Spirit, man, where'd this thing come from? Sean Stewart showing off a Popeye Catalufa. Man, look at that thing. They're also called big eye soldier fish, but for most of us, we know them as Popeye Catalufas. They've been caught as far north as Oregon and all the way down to Chile, and also they're around the Galapagos Islands. We see them in SoCal every once in a while, but is this another indicator about El Nino? I mean, that thing was lost. You don't see all that many of them, and I thank Sean for showing that little devil off. In addition, there is some really good sand dab fishing. Now, I know a lot of you don't go sand dab fishing, but a lot of people do. And I'm telling you, they're really good eating. All you got to do is ask Richard Cayo. He was out on his private boat and just murdered the sand dabs. And he says, man, they are so good to eat. So that's another alternative available to each and every one of you. You can keep that in mind. And of course, the surf fishing bite has been spectacular on the other side of the border. We've seen nothing short of wide open, big barred perch biting south of the border, but it's biting here also. We have barred perch from basically San Diego all the way up to Ventura and above that, and it has been really, really good here recently. Glenn Salvador, he's all over the barred perch, fishing the Dragon Slayer and doing really, really well. You can see his baits right there. Glenn's a great guy and an outstanding surf fisherman. Nobody does it better than him. Andrew Razzo, he's up there around the Ventura area, and Andrew says, you know, I just want people out there to experience this, to feel that tug on the line with those big slabs, and he did really fantastic. Had some 14-inch barred perch. Those are nice, beautiful fish. Andrew and Dino Pangua with some more barred perch. Beautiful fish. Man, I love catching those things. They really fight hard. They are an absolute ball. And as I've been telling you, I'm hoping in the next week or so to get down to Rosarito Beach, Ensenada, and then go south of there to this new honey hole that I have not fished, but some guys are going to show me. And we're going to go with Tony Lozano, the owner of La Huerita Restaurant Seafood in Rosarito. Don't miss that place, let me tell you. And also some other great people like Diego Nuno, and that should be an absolute ball. By the way, that hamburger at the San Nicolas, you saw Greg Bates consuming on the lead in to today's show. Man, that thing was to die for. I'm hoping some of you will go down there and try it. I'm wondering if I haven't had a hamburger for so many years that it was that, but Greg said it was so good he had to order two. He had two in the same day, and they are really good. So keep that in mind if you happen to be down south of the border. And of course, you can't beat La Huerita for seafood in Rosarito Beach. I absolutely love that place also. Lobster fishing, or I should say, hoop netting has been spectacular. It's really been good here recently. We've seen all kinds of local lobster biting here recently. Local lobster now is really crawling and really providing some great food for everybody, some great culinary treats, I should say. But it's a lot of fun to get out there and do that lobster hoop netting. It has been spectacular. Willie McCarthy, I think Willie was doing a dive, but he said one and done, man. Had his 7 lobster limit very quickly. Gale Force, several other boats, excuse me, the Triton, the Sport King, boats out of San Diego, out of Dana Wharf, up there out of Redondo. A lot of guys are out doing the lobster thing, and they've been very successful fishing with the ProMarahi.com fishing nets, lobster hoop nets. It has been really, really spectacular. All right, my friends, don't forget, La Fogata on Sunday. That's going to be an absolute great time. We're going to sit around from 1 to 3. Who knows? It may go longer than that, but that'll be on Sunday. They have some really great food. I may have to break down and try their chili rellenos. I love chili rellenos, and I can't wait to see all of the Friedman Adventure family members at that event. It should be a lot of fun. And also, the Bart Hall Show is right on the horizon. That is going to be an incredibly great time, and I will be there every single day. Sam De La Torre, Island Fishing Tackle, will also be there. Of course, everybody else, including the independents, is going to be there in addition to that. All right, my friends, what can I tell you? It is always a great pleasure to spend time with each and every one of you, and I thank you so much as we're knocking on the door of 12,000 subscribers. Man, that means so much to me, and I can't thank you enough. Take care, and as always, I hope to see you really, really soon.